Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different than what I've been normally doing, which is covering video game news. But today we're going to be doing a book review, and that is Stephen King's Holly. Now, if you all do not know this, Stephen King is my favorite author, and I do a lot of reading, or tried to. I haven't got to do a lot this year, considering I've been focusing so much energy on the channel, but that is something I'm really wanting to change. Usually I read between 40 to 50 books a year, and I've read less than 10 because I've just been so focused on YouTube, which is totally fine. I completely understand. YouTube is my baby. I love doing YouTube, but I want to catch up on some reading and try to, I don't know. I just want to catch up on my freaking reading. Is that okay? Before we get started, if you haven't already, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel so you don't miss out on videos like this in the future. And please do, because it helps the little guy out and it'd make me so happy. I would totally love you. I'd be like, mwah, mwah, please, I love you. I love you so much. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started with the video. Stephen King's Holly came out on September 5th of 2023, and this is the 6th book that features the main character, Holly Gibney. Holly Gibney is a character that I have grown to have a lot of love for. I have not read the Bill Hodges trilogy, which was the first 3 books she was in, but I did read The Outsider, If It Bleeds, and I did read Holly. And let me tell you one thing, Holly Gibney is such an interesting character. She's a quirky, weird character. I know a lot of people don't have like the biggest love for this character, but I myself personally really love Holly. She reminds me a lot of myself when it comes to weird OCD quirks and anxieties, and it's someone I really just enjoy reading. She's a funny character when she's not even meaning to. She's just an all-around great character. She has a great personality, and the stories that she has been in are, especially The Outsider and If It Bleeds and now Holly, these 3 books that she's been in are fantastic. I love every single one of these books. I'm not going to go ahead and straight up tell you my review for my straight up score for Holly until the end of the video, but I had a good time reading this book. Now, I think with my book reviews, I'm going to start with like a brief summary of the book, then I'm going to go over my pros, the cons, and final thoughts. So let's go ahead and get started with what is Holly about. Holly Gibney, one of Stephen King's most compelling and ingenuously resourceful characters, returns in this thrilling novel to solve the gruesome truth behind multiple disappearances in a Midwestern town. Stephen King's Holly marks the triumphant return of beloved King character Holly Gibney. Readers have witnessed Holly's gradual transformation from a shy but also brave and ethical recluse in Mr. Mercedes to Bill Hodges' partner in Finders Keepers to a full-fledged, smart, and occasionally tough private detective in The Outsider. In King's new novel, Holly is on her own and up against a pair of unimaginably depraved and brilliantly disguised adversaries. When Penny Dahl calls the Finders Keepers detective agency, hoping for help to locating her missing daughter, Holly is reluctant to accept the case. Her partner, Pete, has COVID, her very complicated mother has just died, and Holly is meant to be on leave. But something in Penny Dahl's desperate voice makes it impossible for Holly to turn her down. Mere blocks from where Bonnie Dahl disappeared live Professors Rodney and Emily Harris. They are the picture of gorgeous respectability, married octogenarians devoted to each other, and semi-retired lifelong academics. But they are harboring an unholy secret in the basement of their well-kept, book-lined home, one that may be related to Bonnie's disappearance. And it will prove nearly impossible to discover what they are up to. They are savvy, they are patient, and they are ruthless. Holly must summon all her formidable talents to outthink and outmaneuver the shockingly twisted professors in this chilling new masterwork from Stephen King. Just reading that brief summary of this book, I hope that paints a clear picture of what this book is about because it is fantastic. Let me go ahead and tell you one thing here. First off, let's talk about the cover of this book. Look how beautiful this cover is. I don't know, something about Stephen King's books in the past 5 or 6 years have just been like a staple on book covers. But this one, and especially Fairy Tale from last year, have been fantastic. I mean, look at this sunset, this haunted looking house with 2. Right here, there's an image of someone in the window, and then downstairs in the basement, there's a figure in the basement as well. Something about it just paints like a haunted mansion type house. It's not exactly a haunted mansion, but there are some haunting things that go on in this house. And the whole cover here, it's a full wraparound cover of their whole yard. Let me go ahead and open it up a little bit. but it's like their whole yard, there's a light post there, and their house over here on the corner. I think that is fantastic. And then you can read in the back, it says, I could never let Holly Gibney go. She was supposed to be a walk-on character in Mr. Mercedes, and she just stole the book and stole my heart. Holly is all her. That is exactly what this book is. This is all about Holly Gibney, considering, I mean, it's very self-explanatory. You see it in the name of the book. But let's go ahead and talk about some pros of this book, and that is the character development of Holly Gibney. Holly is a character that I have loved since The Outsider, and just from reading, starting from The Outsider to this, she has grown into such a fantastic and loving character. She has become one of my top characters in Stephen King novels. She's not up there in like the top 3, maybe around the top 5 areas where I would put her, but if she's not, she's definitely in the top 10 characters for Stephen King novels for me. The character development in all these people, there are a lot of returning characters from The Outsider and If It Bleeds, and just seeing them, it feels cozy and heartwarming to see them, especially in the setting. This is set during 2020 and 2021 during the COVID times, and just seeing them trying to live, and which hopefully this video doesn't get demonetized for even mentioning that. Hopefully not, good God. But anyways, so with it being set in that time, it's such a weird, chaotic time. We've all been there, we've all lived through it, and seeing these characters live through that as well, just felt very personable. It was like, oh, these characters went through what I went through, and I'm relating with them. It just felt really good. The horror of this novel, it's not exactly horror, it's more mystery thriller, but when it gets to the gruesome details of this stuff, it is gruesome as hell, which can be terrifying in its own right. These characters, the way this book is written, which is another pro that I'll go into, so this is kind of like 2 pros here. But the way this book is written, like each individual chapter is a different time period, so it goes back and forth very frequently. But we are going through what Holly's going through, we're going through what a character that was in If It Bleeds named Barbara is going through, and Jerome. We're going through what the killers are going through as well, which is Emily and Rodney. And let me tell you, it's so crazy that we got to experience that. Like usually in these books, you're like, oh, I wonder who the killers are. Straight from the get-go, we know who the killers are, and we're reading about their lives, and it is sick, it's twisted, and these villains are some of the best villains that I've read in a Stephen King book. It is so awesome to see these characters just live their lives. It's, of course, not awesome what they're doing, but it is disgustingly brilliant the way he wrote that, the way you were sitting there reading what these characters are going through. So it's not more of the mystery, it's more of the anticipation through this whole book. Like, holy hell, when is Holly going to figure this out? And what is going to happen when Holly figures this out? That is the best part about this book. It was so awesome. Let's go ahead and talk about some cons. There's not many cons here. But the first quarter of this book was very obnoxiously political. And I understand, like, during the end of the book, Stephen King was like, this is Holly's political view, so therefore it's going to be heavily one-sided. And he said if he wrote on someone else's political views on the other side, it would be heavily one-sided as well. But this book kind of paints the picture like if you're not on this political side, you're kind of like a bad guy. And I didn't really like that. I'm not a political person by any means. I think politics are stupid as hell, and I really hate hearing it in my books. And Stephen King has had a thing where it's like in the past 5 years especially, where he's like, I'm going to talk about some political people, I'm going to talk about politics, and it's like, if you're not on this side, then you're an idiot. And I don't think that's very nice. I don't really like that. I understand completely. There are plenty of people that are like that, and the fact that Holly's like that, I hate that, but she is respectful for doing that, which is fine. She is respectful for people that are on the different side. She might have different opinions, but the opinions that are in her head paint a clear picture. It's like, you either do what this book is trying to tell you to do during the pandemic times, or you're a villain. And I don't know. It kind of rubbed me off wrong. And that is really the only con I have of this. It just made it drag. It made it slow. I felt like Stephen King was veered off from the plot of this story to focus on that. And Stephen King does that a lot, but just, oh God, in every single book for the past 5 years, it's been like, so and so this is an idiot, so and so this. And if you don't do that, like, I just didn't really like that. It was like this, and it was like that. And Gwendy's Final Task, I know for sure, was like that too. Which I love both of these books. So don't get me wrong. It's just a con that I just found kind of annoying. And I didn't really like that in my fiction novels. But granted, this is set during the pandemic time. So we were going to hear about it eventually. Just the amount of it I felt like was a little bit too much. You know what I'm saying? And let's go ahead and go over some final thoughts. Like I said, the best part about this book is not who done it, but when Holly's going to figure out what happened. And that was really fantastic to read. Once it got past that first quarter, I couldn't put the book down. I had to figure out how Holly was going to figure this all out. I was anxious for Holly. I was anxious for Barbara and Jerome. I was anxious for everything. And it all ended in such a bittersweet moment. And I loved every second of that. I'm going to grade this book a B. I'm going to grade Holly a B+ because literally once it gets through that little slog in the first quarter, like I said, I couldn't put it down. It was fantastic. I love Holly Gibney. I wouldn't be mad to see another book by her. When it comes to Stephen King doing his mystery, thriller, crime novels, I think Holly Gibney's a perfect character for that. So if he really feels an itch to do a crime novel, I'm all there for it as long as Holly's in it, because Finders Keepers, The Company, and Holly Gibney is something that I've held very close to my heart. Considering when I was a kid, I don't know, like I don't tell a lot of people this, but when I was a kid, I wanted to be a private investigator for so long. So the fact that I didn't choose that career path and reading it in this just kind of scratches that itch that I've always wanted to have scratched when I was younger. I was just like, man, I want to be able to solve stuff like this. I want to help people solve things that the issues they are having. I know a lot of those cases are not going to be like this. This is a very serious what if scenario if you were a private investigator, but these stories are just so fantastic. I don't know if I like this more than The Outsider, but it is definitely up there. It is a B+, and I highly recommend anyone to read this book. Did you all read Stephen King's Holly? Let me know down in the comments below if you liked it or disliked it. Let me know if you're a Stephen King fan, and let me know if you'd like to see more book reviews, because I really want to do book reviews. I've always been a booktuber. I always watch people on YouTube review their books, and I've always wanted to do that, and I never felt comfortable enough to do that. But Stephen King is my bread and butter. Something about his writing just fits me. It fills my soul. I don't know, something about it's just so comforting and so digestible. It's so easily digestible, and I really want to keep doing it. And it really means a lot to me. It would mean a lot to me if you all would support this. I'm still going to do video game reviews because, like I said, I'm a gamer boy. You know what I'm saying? I'm a gamer boy. I don't drink G Fuel, but I'm still a gamer. Anyways, I just want to do some book reviews on top of some game reviews, maybe some film reviews. I'm a horror nerd at heart, and Stephen King is horror through and through. So I think it fits in this category. Just let me know down in the comments down below if you would support that. Let me know if there's some books you'd like me to review by Stephen King or any other author that is in the horror genre. Please don't forget to drop a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on videos like this in the future. And until next time, take it easy, bubs.